Do you believe this? Change your mindset, and your life will change. Today's story begins with a beggar on a street corner and ends with a lesson that could change how you live starting tomorrow. On the edge of a noisy city stood an old bridge over a narrow canal. Every morning, just as the sun climbed up and shopkeepers rolled open their doors, a middle-aged man named Evan spread out a piece of cardboard, set a plastic bowl in front of him, and sat down. People called him the beggar at Eastbridge. Evan was in his early 40s, thin, unshaven, eyes always lowered. Beside him was a handwritten sign, "I'm hungry, please help." He had once worked as a loader at a wholesale market. An injury to his shoulder left him unable to lift heavy sacks. Work dried up, rent fell behind, friends drifted away. Evan folded into himself, avoiding other people's eyes. He believed fate had slammed the door on him. Passers-by dropped small coins into his bowl. Some muttered, "Get a job." Some pitied him. Some looked past him as if he were a lamppost. Day after day, Evan counted coins, survived on stale bread and water, and went to sleep on an empty future. One crisp autumn morning, with dry leaves scraping across the bridge, a tall, elderly man in a worn white shirt stopped in front of Evan. He didn't put money in the bowl. He read the sign, then looked straight into Evan's eyes. "Are you hungry?" he asked softly. Evan nodded, embarrassed. The old man thought for a moment, then sat beside him like a friend. He pulled a pen from his pocket, flipped Evan's sign over, wrote a few words, and set it back down. He stood, smiling kindly. "Keep this sign for today. I'll come back this afternoon." Evan watched him blend into the crowd, then looked down. The new sign no longer said, "I'm hungry, please help." It read, "I haven't eaten today. If you're having a good day, please share a little hope with me." Hope. Evan frowned. Still, what did he have to lose? He propped up the new sign. Morning passed. Something strange happened. A woman paused longer than usual, read carefully, smiled, and placed a bill in the bowl. A college kid pulled up on a bike and handed Evan a warm bun. "Hope your day gets lighter." A motorcycle driver squeezed Evan's shoulder. "Hang in there, brother." More money, yes, but what unsettled Evan wasn't the amount, it was the eyes. People no longer looked at him like a problem. They looked at him like a person who might stand again if offered a little push. By late afternoon, the old man returned. He lingered, watching. "How does it feel?" he asked. Evan told the truth. "People smiled at me more. I felt lighter." The old man nodded. "It's not about hungry versus not hungry. It's that you shifted from begging to connecting. From give me money to share some hope. We give most when we feel we matter in someone else's story." Evan fell quiet. My story, he wondered. For so long, the only story he had told was, "I am helpless." "Does your shoulder still hurt?" the old man asked. "Less now, but I can't lift heavy stuff." "That's fine. I run a used bookstore nearby. I need help dusting, sorting, tying bundles. Not heavy work. The pay isn't much, but it'll cover meals. Try a few hours." Evan hesitated. Inside his head, the brakes screeched. "Who am I to ask for work? They'll laugh. What if I fail?" But the man's calm eyes softened the fear. I can try," Evan said. "Tomorrow morning, change your sign again," the old man replied, handing him a blank piece of cardboard and a pen. "Write it yourself, but write like a man who's moving forward, not sinking." That night, back in his cramped room with stained walls and instant noodles on the table, Evan stared at the blank board. At last he wrote, "Looking for light work, sorting, cleaning, organizing. If you don't need help today, please leave me a kind wish. Thank you for letting me try again." Next morning he set out the new sign and straightened his back. More people stopped to talk. A shop owner asked questions. An office worker handed him a business card. "We sometimes need part-time help organizing files, I'll call." A little boy gave him a crooked drawing. "Good luck, mister." At noon, Evan walked to the used bookstore. It was small. Paper and wood mingled in the air. Sunbeams turned dust into gold. The old man introduced himself as Mr. Reed, a retired literature teacher. The job was exactly as promised. Dust shelves, sort books by topic, price and bundle. Evan worked slowly but carefully. His shoulders still ached, but another kind of pain began to fade. The pain of a man who had long labeled himself useless. At day's end, Mr. Reed handed him a small envelope. "Your pay for the day. Come back tomorrow if you're free." Evan clutched the envelope, bewildered. Why do you trust me?" Mr. Reed smiled. Because you started trusting yourself when you wrote that sign. You changed the story you tell, and people listened. In the days that followed, Evan split his time. Mornings at the bridge with a new sign that read, "Learning to stand again. Need help with sorting, cleaning call." Afternoons at the shop. During breaks, Mr. Reed lent him books on mindset, habits, building opportunities. Evan read slowly, asking questions. Mr. Reed answered patiently, sometimes with nothing but a small smile. "You'll see." A week passed, then two odd things kept happening. Someone paid Evan to tidy a storage corner for a few hours. Another traded fresh bread for reorganizing a cabinet. A cafe owner booked him to help with light setup on weekends. The number on Evan's sign began to ring. One rainy afternoon, as Evan tied up bundles of books for delivery, Mr. Reed asked, "What do you think has changed?" Evan looked at the window beads of water. "Maybe, not the city. My mind," he said. "Say more." "Before, my only line was, 'I'm finished.' Now every morning I ask, 'What can I do? Who can I help a little today?' Suddenly the day doesn't feel so heavy." Mr. Reed nodded. Mindset directs the eyes, hands, and feet. Eyes look for chances where your thinking believes they exist. Hands work where the heart still wants to try. Feet move when the brain stops calling you useless. That night, back in his room, Evan pulled out his old sign. "I'm hungry, please help." He set it beside the new one. 2 sentences, 2 versions of himself. He smiled and slid the old sign into a drawer as if shelving a notebook full of sad pages he had finally finished. A month later, the corner at Eastbridge looked different. Evan no longer sat on the ground. He stood behind a refurbished pushcart with a hand-painted board. Used books, light cleaning, organizing by the hour. "If you're having a good day, tell me a good story." On the cart sat a few books Mr. Reed consigned, neat bundles of clean rags, and a notebook of small jobs people had requested. Evan wasn't rich. His shoulders still twinged sometimes, but his face lifted higher. His eyes were brighter. He had begun telling a different story, the story of a man climbing, step by step, with hands that still trembled, but no longer gave up. One morning, the little boy returned, set a bag of pastries on the cart, and asked, "Mister, are you still hungry?" Evan laughed. "Sometimes, sure, but I've learned how to cook myself another meal with work, with a new way of thinking." "Thank you." The boy stared at the sign and said, "I like the part that says, 'Tell me a good story.'" "Yeah," Evan replied, "because everyone is a story, and when you change the story you tell yourself, your life begins to change with it." And now, to you, the one listening, maybe you're in a small room, with the same old lines looping in your head. "I'm awful. I'm out of options. No one needs me." Try changing the sign inside your mind today. From "I beg to, how can I help?" From "I'm helpless" to "I'm learning to stand again." From "no one needs me" to "whose day can I make easier today?" Change the question, and you change your focus. Change your focus, and you change your actions. Change your actions and life changes. Change your mindset, and your life will change. No magic tricks, just a pen, a new sign, and the courage to rewrite your own story starting now.